panel, can I please invite Debmalya Roy for the next session?
Okay, good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for being back from the lunch. I will try to keep it, as interesting as possible to keep you all awake after a heavy lunch, I'm sure. So, just without delaying it further, let me call upon my eminent panelists. I'll start with Dr. Makarand Sawant, Director and CTO, Samruddhi Enterprise Agro-Food Beverages. And I followed up with Phani Mohan Kalagara, CTO of Gracenote. And then may I call upon Shama S. Peela, CEO, CognitivZen. And last but not the least, Jaideep Chakrabarti, Managing Director, Future Netwings.
Can you hold my phone? Yeah, sure, I'll do it.
Okay. So thank you so much, gentlemen, for making yourself available. And I'm sure we're going to make it very interesting. We'll keep it to the point, right? And the good thing is that the panel that we are having today is actually an extension to what we had yesterday, which Naveen hosted, right? Well, that was from the infrastructure side of AI and enabling it, and how do we make it happen from an infrastructure standpoint. This panel discussion that we are going to experience and hear about would be more around how do we implement it? What are our strategies around AI? So both, if you can correlate, it would complement each other, what we heard yesterday to what we are going to have today. Right? Just to introduce myself to start with, my name is Debmalya Roy, and I'm the Chief Revenue Officer of Pi Data Centers. And I'll keep it short and sweet there. And may I request all my fellow panelists to introduce themselves. So Jaideep will start with you.
Hi, first of all, thank you, Dave, and the entire TiE team and the Pi team also. It's been a great show. It's wonderful to see things like this happening in Vizag. Of course, we have been reading a lot in the newspapers, but once we arrived here, we actually saw that it's actually happening. Yeah, quickly about myself. So I've been an entrepreneur, which is also the theme of the event for the last 25 years. So I've started out of college. So, whatever is being discussed is extremely relevant and to the point and very interesting to me because, we could walk down the memory lanes for that. So I run a IT company. We build, infrastructure for data centers, laser focused on all this growth which is happening. We also have a managed services, NOC and all of that. And of course, I support entrepreneurship a lot. I come from Calcutta, so Calcutta is one state which requires support on entrepreneurship, and I hope that we can keep doing that. So hoping to the very interesting subject, of course, AI and DC. We heard Devi was saying yesterday about those billions of dollars, 10 billion, 40 billion, 90 billion. Those are serious numbers, right? So is that actually happening? And if it's happening, then how can you do it? I think that's what Dev is going to probe further, and let's hope we can give you the right answers.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Firstly, thank you, TiE Vizag, for having me here. I'm Dr. Makarand Sawant. I'm representing CFB. I'm a director and CTO for the organization. We are essentially into agriculture. We are into foods and beverages and healthcare. So we are based out of, the manufacturing unit is based out of Pune, but I'm working from Goa, so we have a presence in Goa and Maharashtra, uh, and wanting to increase our footprint in other states as well. Uh, that's it.
Yeah, I think before we go to Phani, just one thing about Makarand and Samruddhi Enterprises. While this theme is about entrepreneurship in Tier 2 and Tier 3 city, Samruddhi Enterprise is based out of Sindhudurg. So I'm sure you can understand the Konkan belt, right? I mean, it cannot get any more eminent in terms of the theme alignment to where they come from. So I think great job done.
I'm Phani Kalagara, most recently CTO at Gracenote. It's a wholly owned subsidiary of Nielsen Media. We work in the space of media, data, and technology, basically at that intersection. So hopefully we'll have a really fun conversation.
Yeah, my name is Peela. I am the CEO of CognitivZen Technologies. And for all the good reasons or the bad reasons, I've been an entrepreneur for the last, I would say, about 25 years. And it's all started in 1999. And I started with a product company and then I built a services company. And now I'm here with CognitivZen Technologies. We have been building enterprise-grade products for our customers. That's what we do. So we are a hardcore technology company, even though we are a services company. So given the AI challenges, we are trying to invent ourselves and trying to strategize on how we wanted to leverage the AI as much as we can to provide the solutions and add value to our customers. Probably, we will try to talk some details through this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you.
And by the way, thanks a lot for Vizag for having this session and inviting me here for this wonderful event. Good job, Kalyan. And it's a marquee event here for the Vizag. And I belong to Vizag, by the way.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Syam. So I think just to get kick off this panel discussion and to warm it up a little bit. So I have a common question across to all our panelists, right? So in one line, right, keeping it possibly in one line, if you have to sum it up, so if I may ask, is AI today a competitive differentiator or an operational necessity? Right. So how do you see AI, from your perspective? Right. Yeah. I think we'll start with Jaideep.
Well, I'll just give a different perspective to this. So in the enterprise world, romance is going on, right? So the many people have been bitten by the love bug, and that name is AI. So it's a great feeling. The mission is definitely there, and it should continue. But to answer your question, I think it is both. It's both.
Yeah, even I agree. AI is required at both for having the competitive edge as well as the operational efficiency. Now, AI is not something new, right? AI is there since long time. It is just that we have done so much of digital transformation in past 2 decades that we have enough data to leverage AI. That is the only difference.
Like everything else, I think it fundamentally comes down to you. How do you use it, right? I think, how do you put something to use? AI is another amazing thing now at our disposal, the scale at which it is able to operate and what's actually able to do. But it fundamentally comes down to you, your business, your thinking, your ability to put it to application on whichever side you choose to.
It's like any other technology evolution or revolution, right? AI is another milestone, right? We need to really innovate and see how we wanted to make or keep relevant, right, to both industry as well as for yourself, right? You need to really just go with the wave and understand what it offers and keep it adapting it. That's what I feel. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, gentlemen, and thanks for keeping it very sharp. So I think my next question to Makarand, to you as well, right? From a CTO standpoint, right? When does it make architectural sense to invest or build on AI? As a CTO, how would you go about it? How do you think about it?
Yes, in any organization, there are two layers of technology setups. One is the operating technology, which is always your core systems, which are directly running the core processes of the organization, may it be manufacturing or uh, supply chain or anything. And the second layer is the IT layer, which is talking about applications which are supporting those core technologies, right? So strategically, we need to think of AI deployment across these two layers, and accordingly we have to place whether we want to have AI as a service or have AI technology built in-house. Okay, so mostly at the IT layer, it is as a service because your entire IT landscape today is cloud enabled and everything is exposed. And you have given interfaces to the external world, which can be leveraged using AI. But when it comes to core technology like your DCS, SCADA systems, they are completely in-house controlled systems. You never expose them directly to the outer world. So it has limited access. So in those cases, AI has to be thought out as an architectural piece within the environment, not exposing too much outside.
Okay, thanks. That makes a lot of sense. I think I have a extension to you, Phani, for that, right? The scale at which you operate or your organization operates at a global platform level, right? What is your take on what element of AI should necessarily be kept and built internally, and what you think you can, partner or buy or rely on external partners?
See, the buy versus build structurally has always been a business decision. I'll try to take a very small example to make it very explicit. Whenever a business is trying to do something, either that aspect of what we need to do is core to the business in the sense, right, that's primal to you making your revenues, money, and so on and so forth, or it is a necessity for you to be able to do your business. The most simplest example is HR systems. Almost all companies need HR systems, but most companies don't build HR systems, they buy HR systems because it's a necessity, it's context to what you're doing. So what you buy is basically, I think a decision around buying is first a monetary decision, it's a cost decision. Second aspect of it, it is whether it is, are you doing something IP related, or are you doing something that actually is kind of more context to what you need to do. So that's another very large differentiator between buy versus kind of build. In AI also, a very, very similar aspect of it plays out. And with the new advents especially, right, I think taking LLMs and the whole 9 yards into equation, we can't build LLMs that easily, right? I mean, we know that GPT-5 costed $500 million as, right, I think, as we understand for the latest iteration of it. So there are stuff that we're actually obviously going to be able to kind of leverage from the aspect of it. My decisions fundamentally come to time to market. Also, I think many a times we see buy versus build as a binary decision. It is not. It's actually can be a temporal decision in the sense that when you are actually trying to go to the market, the very initial offering which you're taking to the market, where you're only becoming market parity, that can happen through buy. But when you're actually truly creating a differentiated product, right, something where you're building a true moat into the equation, right, where you're actually truly kind of developing kind of, so there you might actually need to kind of go into the phases of build, whether you do it. So it's not, I don't even see that as a binary decision, it's a situational decision. You go to the market sometimes, then you actually start working and kind of building something that's a differentiator.
True. I think in a lot of scenarios, the go-to-market drives the decision making, right? The business, how you want to, be available, how quickly into the market. I think that also would drive your decision making, whether to build or buy. Right? I'm sure that also adds to your decision making. Right? Shama, my question to you is, coming from an ecosystem which advises enterprises and customers, right, in terms of their strategy. So, if you are advising a company, right, so I would give you the liberty to explain a large organization vis-a-vis an SME, right? What would and how would you advise them in terms of what should they start or stop doing immediately, as to be successful in the AI journey?
So coming to this, build versus buy decision, I can't agree more than what Phani said, right? It is a good old decision, right? We have been seeing so many softwares out there in the market coming from ERP systems, HR systems, and a lot of other technology stack. So we make a very conscious decision what makes sense to the organization, right? We don't want to build a HR system. Like you said, we don't want to build an ERP. But what we wanted to really build is what makes sense for the business and how do we really leverage the basic infrastructure that you already bought, right? HR system may not cater to all your needs. You make certain customizations and you build some extensions. And same is true with any system, right? And that's no different for AI, right? When we really do, you don't want to build the technology framework. Well, that's out there, somebody else's business. That is the reason why the big, giants are there like Anthropics of the world and Google and other people. What you really do is you take these foundational frameworks that all these companies are building and how do you really leverage these frameworks and the technology that has been out there, understand it thoroughly. Everyone talks about cloud, right? And there are so many flavors of the cloud, that you have cloud code, you have cloud cowork, and similarly within the cloud itself, there are other variations like Sonat, Haiku, and OPS, all the stuff. So how do you really understand all these technology variances? How do you really use that to really solve your business problems? So being an entrepreneur and being in the service industry, what I'll try to do is first you understand all these frameworks that's available for you. Don't reinvent the wheel. Take the business problems and try to solve the business problems for your customers, and then build that intelligence layer rather than worrying about the infrastructure layer. That's how I really approach to the problem if I have to really go back to the customers.
Wonderful, wonderful, and that's very explicit, guys. Thank you so much for being so clear. So coming back to you, Jaideep, right? While Shama spoke about the large enterprises that they speak to, right? I would want to touch upon the mid-size enterprises, right? As a consultant organization, as a service organization yourself, right? How do you what do you advise, or how do you approach a mid-segment organization when they talk to you about their AI roadmap or their vision about approaching AI? Do you address it differently? Right. So that would be my question to you.
Yeah, it's a great question actually, because so the AI is inevitable, by the way. I just want to give that there's a lot of talk happening about will the AI bubble burst, etc., etc. That's more of the valuation part, maybe. People who are putting money for, not thinking why they're putting money are in trouble. But AI is happening, number one. So, but the bigger players have a plan. They built products before, they've run their businesses, they know. The mid-sized enterprises are in the perfect spot to take advantage of AI and get to the next level. Now your question is that how should they do it?
What should be the approach?
Yes. Now the thing is that AI, you should understand that AI is not software anymore. It's not models, it's not software, it's not coding. It can take a serious amount of IT infrastructure behind it. The GPUs, the power, the cooling, the governance, the compliance, the change management, the endless part of it. So you must now see whether that mid-sized enterprise, who may have just grown by doing some good job or hitting the right spot, he has to look internally within his team, whether he has a mature, IT team or a tech team which can actually support AI process, because AI is not a one-time pilot. And that's where people may go wrong. They might attempt without be sufficiently prepared, and then this is a long-term game, and which requires not only serious money commitment, but serious commitment in terms of the processes. So my advice would be that to mid enterprises that yes, look at a use case within your company, which should be, I think, revenue driven or cost optimization driven. It can be just simple, these two use cases, because these are the two drivers of businesses. And then you do a pilot ROI, prove that ROI, present it within your board so that all divisions are in hand together, standardize and then scale. That should be the approach. Start from pilot and then move to scale.
I think that's fairly right. I think you did hit the button. Dr. Makarand, my next question to you is, so in this whole romance of AI, right? I mean, we have been listening to it for last 2 days, right? There's a lot being spoken about, right? AI has been the kind of flavor of the season for time now, right? In all of these, this whole zigzag that's happening, do you also think that organizations are, well, there's some great things about AI, there's a lot of enablement that it can do. Do you really think that organizations are also undermining the complexities that come as a package of your AI roadmap? And because they're undermining it, their runway to AI readiness is getting fractured. Hence, there's a connectivity alignment around it, right? Do you see that's happening?
Yes, I think AI people are misinterpreting that there is something like a application that will get installed and suddenly your organization becomes intelligent and starts running on at its own, right? But that is not the case. There is an ecosystem that has to be in place in order to run the AI applications and the AI intelligence, right? And running that ecosystem itself is a big task. It is very costly, not meant for non-tech companies. We are here to do our businesses, not to run a tech company, right? So mostly when it comes to humongous investments in technology, it is better to have it as a service or partner it with some OEM who is offering it to the customers at an reasonable cost. Because end of the day, it is an cost proposition for the organization. It is not something which is core for their business. It is going to enable the business to perform better and give a competitive advantage. But the investments are huge in terms of establishing an AI-enabled infrastructure within the organization. So basically, it is more about leveraging what is there, offering by the technology companies rather than trying to get into that tech stack.
So I think, if I have to summarize it, so reinventing the wheel is not what is prescribed. I think Syama also spoke about it. I think most of you resonate to that. So with that, Phani, my next question to you is, in the scenario today where the AI models are kind of evolving and changing every maybe a quarter or 6 months, right? How important it is to have a model in-house made or have a very structured data which you know how to implement on an AI platform. So what is more preferable for you at a scale that you operate, right? Do you take care of the data that you are going to put up on AI and then deliver the result, or you would rather want to build it in-house and have more control into it?
So let's actually, I think because when we say AI, I think we use something that encompasses many things underneath it. Like more recently, obviously, with what actually has happened with generative AI, I think we are sorts of starting to synonymously use AI and generative AI. But we've been doing AI for long, actually. Like ML models have been in play. Like when I was at Flipkart, part of my organization used to be planning organization, the whole demand planning, supply chain planning, demand forecasting, all of that was pretty sophisticated ML models that we built. Similarly, when we were actually used to kind of do things for sellers, for marketplace in proposing prices, things like that. All of these things were actually kind of ML. So for a long time, companies, like I think sophisticated tech companies, have actually been building AI, right? Building models, right? And they've been doing that. Now what we actually have at our hand is the maybe 100,000-fold sophistication in the form of generative AI, where you actually have models in front of you that are completely trained, fine-tuned, right, from a generic purpose, and can bring lots of ready-made intelligence to you. In scenarios like that, and if we are primarily focusing on the element of generative AI and leverage of generative AI kind of as an aspect of it, I would actually say the proprietary data starts becoming very, very important. Actually, for many of, so let me use an example, right? Earlier we were talking about buy versus build. I was talking about context, core versus context, right? What is core to you? What is your business? What are you building? What is core to it? What is context? Let's actually take, just for example, let's actually take, we are actually building an AI assistant for a radiologist, right? Here, core becomes the deep knowledge of actually everything that happens in the field of radiology. The proprietary data there, how, what gets analyzed, kind of all of those elements. The context actually becomes the model that actually really be able to piece that together. So from that angle, the moat for that company is the proprietary data. Now there are many ways, and it's actually kind of becoming a very interesting word. So having data itself, and this is where all of the hard work is, and people actually start thinking, now that generative AI is available, I'll actually be able to bootstrap something, and we're actually there, rolling an application kind of within weeks. It doesn't happen that way. The question one actually is, right, even if you're actually saying proprietary data is your moat, how ready is your data? Is it structured, right? What are the best ways actually this data, right? How do you want to truly use it? Do you want to use this data actually for training, for fine tuning, or for grounding, right? What aspect kind of do you want to use it? Which format do you need it? Do you need it as a vector database, right? If so, like, how do you use embedding and kind of embedding models and kind of create kind of the data in the way that is required? All of these considerations actually, all of this engineering becomes very essential for you to kind of build whatever you are building out there, right? On top of that, right, I think it's not about just selecting a model and actually kind of having data for it. It's actually creating a flywheel, right? You can create a helper for a radiologist, but if there isn't actually a flywheel of actually taking feedback back into the ecosystem for this data to actually continually being refreshed, structured, and then actually kind of making these systems better and sophisticated, all of this actually kind of falls apart without translating into a mode. So long shot, hopefully I have answered you.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, we can relate to this because when we get to speak to the customers, right, and as I think Dr. Makarand also touched upon it, most enterprises that we see, they feel AI is kind of a magic wand, which you bring in and some magic will happen and woof, you are up on your a magic world and everything falls in place. But I think standardization that Phani spoke about, right, the structured data, how you make it standardized and then then go into the models and enable it, right, is very important, right? It's not kind of painting it with the same color, right? So it's not that at all at this point. But thanks, Phani, thanks for the detailing. I think Shama, a very specific question to you is how do you kind of protect the differentiation, right, when everyone has an access to the foundation models in AI, right? I mean, everyone has an access to it. How do you kind of protect that differentiation or create that differentiation?
That's a very interesting question. I will talk about it on my behalf, being a services company,
Sure, yeah.
and also wearing a customer hat.
Sure.
So how do you really differentiate yourself? Let me try to take a stab at both the examples and
Sure.
Explain. So at an organization level, you being a services organization, right? Certainly you want to really understand what is the infrastructure available out there. Right? When I say infrastructure, what is the course, what is the foundation models available, right? And what are the different agents that it's available. Like Phani was telling, right? Most of these models that is out there, they are trained for generic purpose. And how do you really take these models and train them for your specific business need, right? You're a fintech company, you want to solve a particular problem in your organization, right? That itself is a differentiator for yourself because you're training these models that's out there in the public domain and use it to solve a specific business problem. And same is true with healthcare, so on and so forth. So without understanding what is the business problem that you're trying to solve, if you really go into this AI rat race, you go nowhere. That's where corporates are burning billions of dollars without seeing the light end of the tunnel, right? So that's what, when you really wear the customer hat. What we are trying to do to differentiate ourselves, besides using these coding assistant tools to really help assist the developers, which we claim that, the development is going to get speed up, but in the process we are compromising or in the security or the privacy of the code because we are exposing the code, even though we say that it is on a private network, but we don't know what is happening behind the scenes and how they're using this code to really train their models. But keeping that aside, how at an organization we are differentiating ourselves is, we are taking common business problems that we are trying to solve to our customers, and we are building something called frameworks. These frameworks will sit on top of these models that are available in the market, right? So we use Claude Code, and then we built a framework called DataZen, right? What this framework does is, this framework is a very generic framework that sits on top of these models, can really go and talk to any data dictionary, and then provide the insights, right? More a conversational AI. You can really integrate with any UI that you can think about, and then it can really go talk to the backend data dictionary and then provide the insights. What we are trying to do, being a services company, we are not solving a specific business problem, but we are building a framework on the core foundational AI so that this framework can be leveraged to solve very mundane business problems that's out there, right? And for the industries, when we really work with a specific customer, we work with an automobile customer. For them, what we are doing is, we are training the data that's available for that automobile customer on the top of these models to provide better insights. So the 2 cents is, for the industries, use it to solve specific business problem, train your data, and then solve the business problem. And if you are a generic services company, think about building these frameworks so that we can widely deploy them to solve any business problem.
Sure, no, that makes sense. And thanks for the explanatory way, because I think it was very important to understand both aspects of it, right? Thank you so much. I go to Dr. Sawant. My next question is, you have been, before, Samruddhi, you have been part of some very large conglomerates as well. So all through your journey, right, how do you see AI from a, from a public cloud based or a private cloud based, right? From a public cloud based or a private cloud based, right? Where do you see the efficiency lies, or you see it's more of a static across?
I think in terms of efficiency, it is more about, I would say, the security and the kind of data that is going to be consumed by the AI engine. Based on that, we need to decide whether it would be some private cloud or a public cloud, or maybe a hybrid cloud, because typically in terms of manufacturing organizations, they prefer hybrid kind of a setup where all the mission critical data and applications remain unexposed. So some part of the AI engine setup would be within the network, and then the customer facing applications, which is carrying business information, that can be over an public cloud AI engine, which is leveraging the AI capability across, because in that terms, there is a requirement of responsiveness of the application. The customers are exposed. So customer needs good interface, which is fast and accurate. In terms of that kind of requirement, it is always the public cloud interfaces that are more helpful, and private cloud for the internal consumption.
No, thank you so much. Thanks for this. So, Phani, I come back to you again. I mean, the span that you operate, right? A little on a lighter note, but I think it's very relevant. So, what is the biggest AI hype myth that you have faced, or you had to kind of demystify, or you think is going around?
AI itself is a myth problem. So I think there are layers of gaps in our understanding. That's how I would say.
I'm sure.
It's just not one myth. Somehow it's interesting, right? Because as a leader in an organization, I get to work with directly work with our investors and our board members and so on and so forth. There are times that requests come. But funny, now that we can do this with AI, we should be able to do this within a month, right? It's like, sure, right? POC we can do within a month. But if you truly want to build something that really solves what your customer is needing, what becomes a business mode for you, there is still engineering associated here, right? I think, yes, there is great leverage. We are able to do things that we probably are not able to do before. We probably are able to do things faster than we are able to do before. All of that is true. But at the end of the day, even with all of the advancements that have happened, there is still engineering required to build great product out there for customers to use, right? So I would probably say that's the one very interesting thing that's playing out. But it is also true. I also have to give an example, right? I had my friend's son came to me just asking for an advice. He was actually experimenting in his mind about a startup that he was working on. He's working like in the space of e-commerce. And given that I was at Flipkart, he came there and he very quickly he was actually doing. He wasn't an engineer at all. He ended up actually creating the entire backend and the front end for the first incarnation of that application, right? And he tells me, he goes, "Uncle, take a look." Well, I am uncle for him, so I have to admit that. But uncle, take a look. See, I've done this. I've created kind of all of my REST APIs, and I've created my entire application here. Please take a look. I looked at it. It's pretty high quality code, right? One was done in Node, the other was done in React, right? Like all there. And he tells me, now I just need one engineer for a few days to connect these two systems so it works end to end. Then interestingly, 3-4 weeks after, we meet at another party. He actually comes and shows, "You want to try it, uncle? It's there, right? I actually was able to find a bakra and get him to do it for me for cheap," kind of thing. So reality of the matter is, as I was saying, on one side, taking something to scale, essential still requires a lot of engineering. Other side, it is very drastically changing what becomes possible in terms of really doing your first proof of concept, right? And who is able to do it, right? If you're a great product person, and if you have figured out prompt engineering, you actually can do a lot of stuff that was unimaginable before.
Oh, and wonderful. Thank you so much. I think that use case of your friend's son coming in, I think that was an apt of how it's kind of turning out. While it's not planned, that the question was not in my mind earlier, but as an extension to that, so Jaideep, maybe if I can come to you. So with this whole AI thing and that the whole noise around it, do you and the popular belief that AI is going to replace people, right? What's your take as an entrepreneur, plus as a service, as a service organization? Is it really going to kind of replace job, or is it going to augment job for more specific skills? How do you take it?
I mean, okay, this bit everybody is figuring out, especially in a country like India, it's very relevant because for a generation we have done some basic level work, nothing against any company or any organization who has enabled that. But yes, those jobs are in trouble. And entire Indian generation of software developers, engineers are in trouble. They are going to lose their jobs. But the way I think the AI, the development and how it can change the world, and I'm talking about not only just what you see around in terms of software getting coded, I'm talking about automation, IoT sensors, IoT sensors, I'm talking about 5G applications rolling out, I'm talking about OTT, I'm talking about gaming, I'm talking about virtual reality. There is so much more going to happen, right? Now, who's going to do all that? So while many will lose jobs, and if they are not quickly already reskilling themselves and making them relevant, God help them. But if they can, or if the new generation actually aligns themselves to do the real job which Indians have not done. So yeah, of course, people will lose jobs. Many more jobs will be created because India has not done that much. But let's start doing the real thing. This session is about entrepreneurship. Let's not just look at those APIs and SDKs, but let's go deep. Are our engineers or engineering colleges, we are sitting in premier engineering colleges, is the core deep tech technology being taught? If you're talking about entrepreneurship, are the mentors telling them that do the right thing, go deep, invent something, have an IP, take it to the world. Not only are you going to create something valuable for your own self, many can do that, but you will create many, many more jobs than that, those will be lost.
Yeah, no, I think that's very rightly said. I think it's had to be more relevant, more skill based. And upskilling is very key today, than being journalistic, right? I think to what Phani was mentioning, and then further what Jaideep, kind of explained on. So I think one a cliche, but I think a very relevant question today. While we are talking about a roadmap, we are talking about enterprises with an AI vision, enterprises with a strategy of build by or partner, right? I think one question which to all my eminent panelists here that from between now and 5 years from now, right? What will separate AI leaders from AI laggers? Typically, I would not want to put a word to it, but if you have to differentiate, so I'll just go. Maybe I'll start with Jaideep. In 5 years, so AI leaders versus the AI laggers, people who would not be taking advantage of this wave of AI. What would differentiate them?
Yeah, I think all of us discussed that. So I think the difference will come to the guys who actually are building a product of their own. So who are going to build their IPs. I mean, AI should be an integral part of how your business will run, and not a efficiency or operational efficiency or operation, not an efficiency. Not just making your operations more efficient. So the guys who will attend that to build products on that will be the leaders who will do the next best thing. For example, if you can build a chat GPT, so that will remain. If you're just going to use chat GPT for making your business more efficient, no, that might lag behind.
How about you, Dr. Makarand?
I think organizations who would be using AI will have the advantage of go to market faster, and they would be able to innovate also faster, because a lot of automation would be already there in place, and they would not be putting efforts in doing the basic level of automation.
Sure. Phani, what do you?
2 years ago, I probably would have taken your question as is, but I think right now the 5-year horizon is too far out.
Too far off, yeah.
There are no more,
maybe we can break it down.
There are companies that have folded, or there are companies that are working, right? There are no more laggards leaders at that point in time.
Sure.
Because I think what's happening right now is at a breakneck pace.
Yeah.
I don't think many companies actually have an option but to rediscover themselves meaningfully, right as we speak. I know that was a different question that you've asked, actually, kind of, and it's right. If I may take it just a moment to kind of, you're talking about, are we going to lose jobs? Right?
The one that I asked him.
The one that I asked. Right?
My question was, is AI going to kind of replace jobs, or is going to augment jobs further?
See, like many innovations that have happened in the past, some jobs were gone. Some modalities of actually business were gone. New modalities of business have come in, new jobs actually have come in. Okay. With AI, what's actually kind of happening right now is most companies are actually focusing on showing immediate result. The potential is a lot larger.
Yeah.
The potential is actually kind of, so today, even if you take like just India, and how many systems in India are truly automated, connected, able to reach every single citizen? It's not there yet.
It's not there
yet.
So the
opportunity is like so massive in terms of what we can do. So if you look at AI from the context of being able to make it happen for the massive, the outcome is slightly different. It's not necessarily loss of jobs. It's actually kind of what more can happen in the scale at which you're operating. But interestingly, what's happening is with AI coming in, what's very apparent to the board members or what's very apparent to the executives right now is the immediate gains that are ahead of us. And those immediate gains many a times are coming in the form of savings or efficiency gains that actually manifest.
Yeah.
So in the short run, we will see compression in the market. In the short run, we will see repeated tasks managed out, which means certain jobs that are not of high skill kind of being managed out. There will be compressions kind of playing out. for sure. But hopefully, if AI plays its full value out, I really hope in the more expanded purview of things, it will actually start recreating a different kind of jobs.
Sure. Yeah. Shama.
What am I answering? Is it a,
Okay, I'll repeat it for you. I know the flow changed till it is funny. So we're saying
because
from now
is it loss of jobs or is it?
we are done with that. I don't
Okay.
think we have to scare the audience out more.
Right.
So I think we talk about in the horizon between now and 5 years. You can break it down into who who stays AI leader and AI laggard. How do you?
Given the rate at which the AI is evolving, and it's very, very difficult for us to talk about what it is 5 years from now. But AI is real. One needs to innovate and stay relevant, right? Otherwise, you will be behind and you lose that competitive advantage. For that matter, like you look at all the top IT services companies, right? 50% or 60% of the work they do, support, maintenance, very mundane tasks, right? And that can be really, really, automated with the help of AI by building the right models. If they don't innovate, there is some small elephant in the garage will innovate and then try to replace them, right? So they have to innovate, they have to stay relevant, and that applies to every company that's out there, right? But it's not like AI is going to really be the end of the world, all the jobs are gone, people have to really change their professions. That's all myth.
Okay, thank you so much, Shama. I think that was very positive. Thank you so much, Shama. I think at the conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, if I have to summarize it, so AI for sure is not a magic wand. That's, I think it's very clear from the experts sitting here. But if done right and relevantly, if structured relevantly, it can surely be an enabler, a go-to-market, real star war for us. But it's how we leverage is what will decide whether it is doing some great stuff for us or it is kind of becoming a misfire and then hitting all over or making us all over the place. So thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time, and it was wonderful talking to all of you. A round of applause for our panelists. Thank you.
No, I wanted to congratulate Kalyan. You're in the right business right now, on the data center business. That's where GPU business is going to really flourish. Congratulations to you.
Provided it is combined with robotics.
We are trying to do data cleansing. We are not able to.
They've also worked very hard on the panels.
Shama, please don't leave. All your panelists stay for the night panel.
No, this morning we didn't let them get coffee, man. This is really ruthless as a president. Kanyan, some lessons for you, man. No. Thank you.